That was my week. Pretty uneventful. I was basically just working on the video all month, and then I finished it just in time for Friday morning, because I had to go to an event with Kat. We went to I should just got reminded of something that we want to talk about later. I went to an event with Kat. It was like, and her mom. It was it was a local like toy / collectibles fair, which is not probably not something I would go to of my own accord. But hey, she went to Slashback for me. The least I can do is go to this with her. And hey, who knows? Maybe I'll even find something that I'll like. I didn't. I found things that, well, tangentially I liked. I didn't buy anything, but there were a few cool things. I found there was this dude who had a functioning and like complete Atari 400. I was like, that's sick. He didn't have any tapes for it, and that's the difficult thing is that, like, man, if it was like $200, which was actually pretty good for something of that, like everything being complete and in working order, that's a pretty decent price. But the thing is, like, yeah, that's out of my price range, and even if I could buy it, like, Atari 400 ran on like tapes, man. Like those. There can't be many of those still around. Like, those things rot. It's from, like, the early 80s, man. How many VHS tapes of movies are even in good condition from that are that old? Yeah, so, like now imagine Atari 400 games. Like, yeah, how many of those are you even going to be able to find for decent prices? And at the end of the day, hey, Atari 400, it's neat. It's cool. I don't know if I'm comfortable dropping, let's see if we can actually find any. Atari 400 tapes. How much do these things go for? Just randomly listed. I'm seeing $22 used for a set of 3 snooker, pool, and darts. Ooh. A lot of 4 games for $100. Snookers, pool, darts, and home financial management. Oh, I'm just chomping at the bit. Space games for $35. Like, sorry, no, I'm not gonna. I'll emulate it. I'm not gonna buy that. I am not so in love with physical media that I will do that. But it was cool. It was really cool to see one of those things in person. It was pretty sick. And the dude was pretty cool. Just telling me all about it, and we talked a little bit about old computers and things like that. I was also at one point, because I'm not really into. I am well past the phase of, oh, that's the thing that I like. I'm going to buy it because it's merchandise of the thing that I like. I used to be like that. And now I have too much stuff, and I've kind of cooled down in my consumerism. So if I see something that's related to a thing I like, it has to be good. It has to be really cool for me to actually want it. Or it has to be very, like, I'm not just going to buy, you can't just, like, take a thing that I like, for instance, and, like, just slap the logo on a t-shirt. Like, I do like to own shirts, for instance, that are, like, cool artwork. Like, I own a couple different Berserk shirts that's cool, like, artwork from the manga. I think that's neat. I like owning stuff like that because it's also, like a discussion piece. I love, like, in the last video, am I still wearing it? I'm still wearing it because I'm a fucking slob and I change my shirt once every 2 weeks. I was wearing my Proto Men shirt, my Proto Men Act 1 shirt, And it's a super cool. It's a cool logo. Like, okay, it's a band logo, but it's cool. Like, it's a cool looking logo. Like the way that you it's in this. How would I even describe? It's kind of emulating like an LED display, just like black and white. But it's this effect where like the further away you are, the easier it is to read, because the dots kind of they smush together a bit when you're further away. Like, that's a cool shirt. That's kind of like, it's a thing that I like, but I could also start a conversation about it. It's not just like, here's the Hunter x Hunter logo, and we're gonna put it on a T-shirt, and you're gonna buy it. For some people, that's enough. For me, I have enough. You gotta earn my dollar like that. So Kat will still just buy whatever fucking little plastic thing that is of a thing that she likes at the moment. She saw like a McDonald's toy of the Reptar wagon from the Rugrats movie, and she's like, I have to have it. Oh my god, she's so cute. She saw a stand. There was this one booth. This lady was just selling this gigantic Wallace and Gromit collection. And dude, Kat, she was holding my hand when she saw it, and she nearly ripped it off running over to this thing. Jesus, like she sped over, and she bought like a Wallace plush from this lady. And her mom and I are on like the same page, because her mom was there and she was looking for some very specific. She was looking for a specific thing from this like 70s or 80s like mecha anime called Voltes V. I think it was popular in the Philippines. And she's been looking for it. Just like merchandise for it, and she found some there. But she does not. She doesn't get Kat's plush obsession. So, like, Kat just... she's carrying, like, 3 Garfields and a Wallace. And her mom goes, did you buy that? And she goes, yeah. They were selling a bunch of Wallace and Gromit stuff. And her mom just gives her this look like... okay. Because she knows it's going to end up in their fucking living room. Because Kat doesn't have her own room. She just sleeps out in the living room like a little animal. And the whole couch is just covered in plushes. So there's only like a couple things that, because, you know, people will go here to places like this and they'll have objectives, right? They'll be looking for something. The only things that I look for is there's a couple like anime figures that I still really want, that I would think would be really cool to own. I wasn't expecting to see any of them here. There's also like there's 2 Toho figures. There's like this one of like an Idolmaster character that I think is really cool. That's it pretty much. There's also the other collectible thing is I won't get into the whole backstory of what it is, but there's essentially a 40K art book. Well, not 40K specifically, the Horus Heresy, that was taken from this old like card game from the 90s based on the Horus Heresy era of 40K. And there's a lot of really cool artwork that was in that card game. And they collected it into like 4 books, these 4 giant books. And then they collected all those books in like one gianter book called, I think, Collected Visions or Visions of Heresy or something like that. There's this big black tome with tons and tons of artwork and little lore bits scattered about, like pertaining to you know, the artwork on the page. Really cool. I love art books. I'm a sucker for art books. I'd love to own that. Unfortunately, it goes for like $600 because it's been way out of print and it's very valuable. So like that's the one thing that I'm like, okay, that's like the pie in the sky, long shot goal I guess. Like if I saw that, depending on the price, it might be sight unseen. It might be on site. And other than that, it was like, did they have? There was actually no. At one point, we found this one area, this one like booth, I guess. Most of them weren't even booths. It was just they set up a table. It was in like a convention center. This wasn't like outside, but sort of similar to like a flea market kind of thing, like an indoor flea market basically. And this one booth, these guys had a box full of old gaming magazines. And I was just looking through it, and I was like, you know what? It might actually be really fun to have a copy of Die Hard Game Fan, or Gamer's Republic, or Play, one of those, or the second Die Hard Game Fan. That's something that, like, just for the novelty, because I am technically one of the world's foremost experts on Die Hard Game Fan history. I can proudly say that, and but I don't own any physically. I only ever read them online, because I'm not freaking buying. I wasn't gonna buy one for research. It would be really neat to own one and just have it as like, hey, yeah, it's like a throwback to this big project I had. Didn't find anything, unfortunately, but man, I was on my feet the entire day. Just the whole day. And I'm not going to lie. There's a combination of things happening. Number one, I'm on my feet and I'm moving all the whole day, because we're just walking around, because she's looking for more garbage. And the second thing is that I'm not terribly interested in what's around me. And that is an issue, because it's not just being bored. I wasn't even that bored, right? I could have been much more bored. It's that when I'm around a lot of people, I get put into... This is like an introvert thing, I think. I'm sure a lot of you could relate to this. My energy level goes down. I start dropping into like the depressive end of the mood spectrum. Not to say I'm depressed. I'm just low. Excuse me, low energy. And in the wrong setting where I don't want to be there, that can be really bad. That can be really bad for me. In a good setting where I'm at least, invested in what's happening around me, I think that should be very enjoyable, like a very calm, pleasant experience. This was kind of like, there were a few points where my skull felt kind of numb. But I kind of got, shaken awake just by every now and again. I'd see something interesting. So that was, we were there for like what, 3-4 hours. I had this like thing that I kept experiencing, this reaction, and this is why, when you go to these things, there's going to be some stuff that I will admit I think is pretty cool. Or I can at least see the novel, like, oh, this is like a cool thing. I see value in this, personally. And there's other times where I feel like a lot of it is just like plastic tat. And that's the best way I can describe it. Just like... this reaction, this cycle I kept having, I would see like a box, or like it's not really a box, it's like a packaging for a toy, and the artwork looks cool. The art looks cool, like it's a cool looking alien or something, and I love my cheesy pulpy like 50s sci-fi cover looking aliens. I love that stuff. And then you look at the toy itself, and it's this like dinky, it's the shittiest looking little plastic action figure you've ever seen. And I'm like, the artwork is significantly more interesting than the toy, which I guess is the point. But like, man, how disappointing it's like, oh, the Karate Kid. Look at this artwork of the Karate Kid, and you look at it's just a shitty, dinky little action figure, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I guess it's nostalgia. It just, I don't know, man. I don't like raining on people's parade, but there's a point where I'm like, man, like, just some standards, just some like a level of craftsmanship or quality at least for the things you like, and not just like churned out, like what am I saying? Just like churned out marketing machine like garbage. Like that's what a lot of it just seemed like to me. Or just what it was like, the Love Boat jigsaw puzzle. Really? Okay. Sure. Yeah, and that's not to say all of it was like, there was a huge variety of stuff there. Just so happened that most of it did not interest me. There was one 40K related thing. And I saw the logo. I was like, oh, actually, because I mean, it's really, I'm sure if we went to one of these things in like the UK, there'd probably be something. There might be. But here in America, it's not. It's a lot of people just digging stuff out of their collections. You're not going to get a lot of 40K stuff out of there. But there was one thing, and I was like, oh, I walked over to it, and it's a figure. It's not like a miniature, but it's like a figure of a space wolf. And I was like, God damn it. It had to be space wolves? Ugh. Get that out of my face. There's like one that was a space wolf, and there was one that was an orc. And I like the orcs, but I don't like them enough to drop like $80 on a figure of one. Yeah. So then after that, I mean, we had a full day. Her mom's really, I think her mom likes me now. She's investing in me. She actually paid for my ticket, which was really nice. Really nice of her. I think I've earned the trust of the Filipino mother. I made it over. I made it over the line. No, but she's nice. She's definitely I think she's gotten a lot more, I don't know, comfortable with me dating her daughter. So she took us out to lunch, and then we went to IKEA, because we went IKEA shopping, and yes, Kat got a blahaj. She got the blahaj, the shark. I realize that if you're not familiar with the meme, you might have no idea what I'm talking about. You know how IKEA sells like plush toys of different animals and stuff? Like usually near the end. Apparently for some reason, the shark plush, which is called the blahaj, I guess that's what shark is in Swedish. The blahaj is really popular with like trans people. I don't know why, but like I assumed she owned one because she loves plushes, right? But no. And she didn't, and she was really excited that we were going to IKEA because she could finally pick one up. She didn't have an excuse to go to IKEA otherwise. And they sell two. So she immediately picked the gigantic one, which was like $30, and she was like, ugh. And then they sell a smaller one for like $8, but her mom saw it, and we told her about, and she loved it. And we told her that there was a bigger one for $30, and she went to check it out. And like we were sitting, it was right next to like the food court area, and we just watch her like, she's like within eyesight, like it's like maybe 10 feet away, and she steps out with like the giant shark, and so she bought it for her with the condition that they would get to trade who gets to sleep with it. So Kat got her blahaj. Or like blahoj, I don't know how it's like an A with the circle over it. It might be an O, I'm not sure. Yeah, so big win for her. And then I after that they drove me home, and I was exhausted. I was complete. That was a long day. That took me out. But but fun. And I got to see my beloved very happy to pick up things that she liked. Someone was selling a plush of it was Mario, specifically Mario from the Mario versus Donkey Kong. The one, I think it was on like DS, and it was like kind of like a puzzle game with the little wind up toy Marios. Excuse me. There was a plush of one of the little wind up toy Marios. So she bought that, and then these people like 20 minutes later approach us. They were like, "Oh my god, we've been trying to find you. Can my boyfriend buy that off of you?" And Kat, because she's a pushover, let them buy it off of her for like $20. And then she was like, I was like, "Do you regret it?" She's like halfway. And then like by the end of the day, she's like, I shouldn't have sold it to them. I'm like, you gotta stand up for yourself, baby. Gotta assert yourself. I let her up to it. You know, I let her do it. I don't want to be the one to step in and say, no, don't sell it to them. You know, that's her. She's got to make that decision for herself.